Hello, everybody, and welcome to Euroschmoe, the European and South African-based Schmoedown after show. Um, we have a guest coming in a bit later, but for now, it is just myself and Matt. How are you, Matt?
Well, I'm great. It was a great week in the Schmoedown, especially for me, and I think that Thomas is happy as well. And I know some other people are happy, and yeah, I cannot wait to talk Schmoedown. To be fair, I think it's going to be a great week.
Oh, yes, and talk Schmoedown we will. I am very excited to talk about this first thing because it sent me through the whole gambit of emotions from happiness to laughter to sadness. Uh, it was almost like in game level emotions for me, but we'll talk about it now. So, the Queen has said goodbye to her coyote. Adam Collins has joined Swag. But in that thing, so Shannon is talking to Marisol and like talking about her plans for the upcoming thing, and Marisol's trying to tell her, listen, Adam Collins, we need to talk about Adam Collins. Uh, and Adam Collins comes in, and uh, Shannon says, listen, that was all that was all the ruse, but of course you would be part of corruption. You'll always be part of corruption. And then they did the whole. Then he said, "Look, I have to look after myself." Winston came in. I went yes because I thought, yes, that means that the coyote is going to be a face, and I loved him in his skits last year, and we're going to get more of that face coyote. And then uh, she I did that yes, and then they sort of looked at each other. Shannon said, please look after him, broke down into tears, and hugged Coyote, and I just went through back into like had tears in my eyes. I was like, damn it, I shouldn't have cheered, but oh man, it was good. Matt, your reaction of it?
So yeah, so for me. I expected different things to happen because I always saw Shannon as a heel manager,
Hmm.
but after this, I think she's going to be a face manager this year. She took that too quietly and
Hmm.
too nicely to be a heel. So I now will look to see if Shannon is face. She should be face after this performance,
Yeah.
or she will be a tweener if she yeah as Leo said, uh, he sees Shannon uh, going face. I see it too after this cutscene we had. Well, I was actually very happy. It was emotional, but I was happy as for the decision. I don't know if decision was like behind the scenes, or decision was just that Winston had a good pitch for the Coyote. Uh, but I like it because corruption is now not that much OP. They are still, for me, one of the OPest uh, factions in the Schmoedown, as do they have 2 out of 5 players who can play 3 divisions, and that's really a lot. But now it's different. Sorry, Ben, but deception is no more. So
Hmm.
that will be interesting. The other thing I find really interesting, and I think that it's going to be very fun to see, and I would like to uh, ask all of you guys to comment and tell us what you think about it, is the fact that now Oyama could potentially play uh, Collins's ex team partner in the Schmoedown, and that's Marisol. Like we could see Oyama, because he still has that free for all shot. We could still see Oyama play Marisol, and as we all know, usually when players are teammates, you help each other study, and that's how you build chemistry with each other. And it will be interesting if like Collins needs to help Oyama study for Marisol, and he knows Marisol's strengths, but he knows as well Marisol's weaknesses. And I don't think that Marisol will have the same advantage against Oyama, right? This time, if she's still, of course, if she's still a champion. After the other thing we will talk later, but I think that that will be one of the interesting things that comes out of this storyline, as well as I think that Toyama and Collins are now going to be a team, and I
Mm.
really think that's going to be a one scary team, because I see Collins as someone who knows the old movies and the classics and the 80s and the 90s and the stuff like that, and Oyama is maybe better with the new ones. That's just my feeling. So I think that that team of Collins and Oyama, if that happens, will be a very balanced team who can
Mm.
actually maybe challenge them one day for that titles, right? Uh, if that team happens, of course. But great pickup for Winston. Uh, like when you see Swag now looks pretty tough. You have Ace as your Star Wars primarily. You have Amaro as your inner geekdom, who did do good against Mike. Like he did
Had him
good.
on the ropes for a while.
Yep. You have now Collins and Oyama as your like main two. Uh, yeah, like, and then you have Klee, who can probably give you some points as your fifth player, probably
Yeah,
on that faction, right?
and could have a
So
run as well. So I mean, we never
yeah,
know if she gets
of
enough
course,
training.
yeah, we doesn't know anything, but if I had to rank them now, that's how I would rank them, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a great pickup for Swag and for Winston. I really think that uh, this is going to be a great Swag this year, and I'm just very surprised that Shannon took the Collins thing that easily. Maybe we will get another cutscene next week, that when she's very angry, and that was
Mm.
all an act. But I don't think so. I think she's going face this year. And when we are talking about cutscenes and everything, I will just say this: I watch Schmoedown week to week now. This is the third show, right?
Mm.
And more I watch, more I understand what Christian is trying to do, and more I watch, I liked it more and more.
Yep.
I still want that graphics in the studio behind players, and that's my only complaint. That's my only complaint. But I really love the show. I love the time steps on the show for people who maybe wants to skip things. I don't skip things. I
No.
enjoy the cutscenes. I enjoy the matches. Some performances before the matches, I will talk about that once when we come to that match. But I like the idea. I didn't do that yet, so I will give a special shout out to the intro they had. They have
Mm.
from the music to the videos and the pictures they choose to take. It's very awesome. I understand it. I enjoy Titans more and more each week. Each week is better than the next, and I just think that we will get the surge in the viewers this way, because I really loved where the Schmoedown is going now. It's like the indie small wrestling show, like
Mm,
no one gets yet. And yeah, as I said before, last year I was mainly here for the trivia. Now I love it because I see how the, as I said multiple times, how the storylines is pushing the matches, but I still see matches as a main event of the evening. So
yeah.
I truly enjoyed these Titans, and I cannot wait to talk about main event, but we will come to it. And yeah,
So there's just I sort of ask you this, and then I'll move on to the other one. Who do you think would be the fifth person? I know Thomas has suggested that you rather focus on singles, which I wouldn't mind. Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
So I think that Shannon will wait because let's be honest, she doesn't need fifth player right now.
no.
So I think she's going to wait to see how things will fall and cards will be played, and then she will choose her fifth. In the first season, as we all know, the waiting of Shannon paid off a lot because she picked Collins up and then he won the tournament.
Hmm.
So I think she's going to. I really think she's going to wait.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Yeah, so the only other thing that I want to say about this is that I think she is turning face, and the only reason why I would have said that before this cut scene is because she has one of the biggest faces on her faction, Marisol McKee. No one sees her as a heel. Everyone loves Marisol,
Yes.
and it would be more difficult to change her to be a heel than to change the whole faction to be maybe tween that face sort of thing. Because you would have to have her be a real, like, have to do something real bad to have her be a heel. But yeah. Um, so that's that match. Shall we get on to, or sorry, that's that in news. Shall we get on to the rest of the show? Um, we'll carry on. So JTE joined with THE, Paul Preston, and became what they called the movement, and then took on the Harris brothers. Now, I imagine this is where you had that performance before the match argument, but yes, this was spoiled for me, the victory, thanks to Twitter. But yeah, JTE and Paul Preston won. It wasn't an easy victory, but they certainly won, and it was a good match.
Yeah. I will start with the before the match. As I said, it was good, but it was very clumsy. I think that some people forgot their lines and what they were supposed to say, and it's okay. It's growing pains. I will say this. Uh, uh, like yeah, and I just don't know about that one. That call out was a little clumsy.
Mm.
But I enjoyed it because for people who watch Schmoedown a lot and often, I think that they are. I think they are just how to say it. They are used to JT doing JT stuff, and yeah, I just think that that's pretty nice. And yeah, it was a good match. As they said in the interviews after it, uh, it seems that JT is making uh, whoever he plays with better.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I really think that. Like he's a great teams player, uh, and I will say that Harris brothers had really better performance than I thought they would. It was a fun match. It was a, how to say this, usual usual undercard you will see on some like pay-per-view events or some shows. Like
Mm.
UFC has the undercards and then the main event, and that felt that feel more like that, like you have mm, like you have the undercard and the main event. This is how this match felt, as a proper undercard, just to get your like energy flowing and juices and be interested to warm you up for the main event. uh, the questions were good. I don't have complaints with the questions. uh, JT and Preston, good team. I expected them to be very good. I didn't expect that the main rivals of the fan favorites will be Stock Exchange, and apparently they will be the main rivals. Uh, and yeah, JT wants to get revenge on Finstock apparently this season. That is a fun storyline. I will like to see where it's going. But yeah. Uh,
Yeah, that will be very interesting to see. It will like maybe it'll be like Dan Murrell was supposed to have last year, but they dropped that storyline where he was supposed to be going against Finstock and kind of getting revenge for him dropping him. I think that could be very interesting. Maybe they'll carry that on a bit better this year. Um, uh, I want to agree with Chris here. I love that the Harris brothers are back. Uh, they they were one of the teams that I thought could have actually gone on to, at least if they had the opportunity, maybe gone on to title contention at some point. Um, but yeah, maybe not. But I'm very glad to have them back. They're very entertaining. Um, I will say that there was a slip by Paul Preston before the with his promo, but the way he recovered was great. He did it very well. But yeah, it was awesome match. Uh, Fantastic all round teams. Yeah.
and as Leo said, Preston finally receives his first win in teams.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and Lon always comes so close to a victory, and then just at the end gets like uh, trumped at the end. It's strange, but yeah. Um, so we'll move on to the match that you really want to talk about, which
Yay!
is Sam Levine's miraculous return against uh, Elvis and the Barbarian. Um, it was, I guess you could call it a handicap match since Barbarian has Elvis on his side. Um, and it was a very interesting match. Yeah, what I'll let you take us off with that.
So, okay, of course, I will kick us off with that. As you all know, guys who are watching the show maybe before, I am a big Sam Levine fan. He's my favorite player. I can say now that he's my favorite player because he's a player again. Uh, I will say this. I was scared, as I said last week, about how he will do. As I said, I still picked him to win. I still picked Sam to win. Don't forget that, guys. Because as I said, I didn't think that he would come back if he didn't think he's ready to come back and be a great player. Because when he said, "I'm quitting," He said, "I'm quitting because I couldn't afford the time to be a proper player, so I'm not going to be a player." And with the main event, when Sam went perfect in his return. So he didn't play for 4 years, right? No, it was I think 3 years, right?
Four, I think.
Four. Okay, he didn't play for 4 years,
Or yeah.
and he came back and went perfect. So zero regress. His opponent didn't wasn't some slouch who plays the first time, some rookie, someone like they didn't like ease him in the Schmoedown. He got the finalist of the last year's Ultimate Schmoedown tournament in the Barbarian, and he beat him. It was a close match. It was a great match. Uh, I loved back and forth between Barbarian and Sam when Barbarian did his provocation. Uh, yeah, like he did his provocation, and like it will took a miracle. Thank you, Thomas. So yeah, 4 years. So it would take a miracle. And when Sam said uh like, okay, apparently we are witnessing a miracle, it was beautiful. Like, really, Sam again showed that he can steal Disney movies. Yeah, I will say this. Rocca was the first one who I think began to study for the Schmoedown, one of the first, if
Hmm.
not the first. But I think the Sam is the first one that cracked the code on how to study.
Sorry, I
Uh,
just want to welcome to our show, Mr. Dagan Broad.
What's going
Welcome.
on, guys? How we
Hi,
doing
Deegan.
today?
Well, I'm good.
That's
Very
good.
good because, well, you watch our show with us, so you know that Sam is my favorite player. I can
Yes.
finally say that he's my favorite player now because he's a player again. And I'm just praising my favorite player right now
Yeah.
because we are talking about the main event of the Titans.
You guys want to hear something crazy?
Yep.
Sam Levine has not lost a match since July 7th, 2017. That was his
Oh,
last
wow.
singles loss to Dan Murrell in the title match
Oh,
after he
5 years
cashed
ago.
in. Yeah. So, crazy fun fact of the
Great.
day for you.
Sure.
Yay! So I will just say he showed that he still knows his animated movies, and everyone said that that's his like kryptonite. Apparently not, because he stole the thing that Barbarian didn't know. He went perfect. The moment with him and Rachel in the end was really nice and emotional. And I know that Sam is saying I don't have a manager, but Rachel is his manager. Let's be honest. And
De facto manager,
yeah,
yeah.
and just I will finish with this. We had arguments on this show before when no one talked about and everyone pushed Sam Levine out of the Rushmore because everyone said Merle, Mike, Snyder, Rachel, Rushmore, those four, and
I would
everyone
say I
said,
would say Merle, Roca, Rachel, and Mike. Yeah.
yeah. And now, sorry guys, Sam came back after 4 years to layoff, went perfect, the only player to defend both titles at the same time, right? No one did that. He really deserves to be on that Rushmore. Uh, and yeah, I think he proved that even if he doesn't win the belts right now immediately, I think he really is going to win the titles. Yeah, uh, and yeah, I just think this is going to be great here. I really love Titans. As I said, each episode is much better than the last. And yeah, let's let's someone else talk. For example, Ben, because now I'm a little out of words because I'm again very happy and excited that Sam is back.
Is Sam Levine getting you flustered there, Matt?
Yeah,
Yep. You
yeah,
could see he's blushing.
yeah.
Yeah. This was amazing. He's the first person to go with 8 straight victories, uh, which is. I actually wanted to ask you guys. Do you think that should technically count? I know they're pushing that a lot
Yes.
in the commentary.
No,
I
I
think it
think they
should,
should.
but
Yeah, because he
I
still
can
is riding a streak. If you look
yeah
at it, if you
I
take
can
it
just
back.
see some people arguing that since he hasn't been there, that his streak should have died. But
No, I don't think it matters. I think a streak is a streak. The numbers are the numbers. If he's won 8 matches in a row, I mean, there you go. That's the record, and it's crazy because you look at it. He's going for 9-0 or 9 in a row. Marisol McKee went 7-0 last season, so she's going for an 8-0. Like the same thing. She's going to tie his record that he just set. And not only that, but it's almost like a streak versus streak and title kind of scenario that we're looking at right here, where she's got the title, she's got the streak, but Sam also has this streak dating back all the way to 2017. So it's pretty crazy. No matter which way you look at it, there's going to be some more like Schmoedown history to be made on Friday.
It's going to be very interesting, and I personally can't wait for that match. We'll talk about it a bit later, but I have a victor that I think will win. But yeah, I honestly I love this match.
It's a dream
I had
match.
Barbarian. It was a fantastic match.
Yeah. Both of these really, Barbarian versus Levine and Levine versus Marisol McKee are like dream matches, I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just want to highlight something that Leo asked, which is where do you see Barbarian going now? Because he's lost 2 number one contender matches in a row. Dagan, where do you think he goes from here?
This is a great question. We're actually going to probably talk about this more on any given Schmoe Day later today, but it's tough to say because I think he's probably now in a position where he has to at least win 2 matches to get back into that number one contender spot, at least in singles. So whether or not maybe he throws his hat in there for teams. I mean, I don't know what Gucci has in mind, but you assume King Arthur is their team, so I don't know if there's really a spot for him there. Maybe he shifts his focus back to IG because we haven't seen much IG this season, and we know he's been known to play pretty good in Activision. So if I were Barbarian, I'd almost put him back there. I mean, remember Gucci said that thing of like our IG player is this big surprise, and you won't even know that it's a surprise when it happens. Well, my first funny thought was that it would just be Moose Haas, and that would be the surprise announcement. That would be typical Gucci. But I also think another kind of funny thing they could do would be announce it was Barbarian. Our IG player is the Barbarian. That would also be a very goofy thing to do. So
Yeah,
that's where I would go.
I really think we are going to get Parker in the exchange.
I've heard that theory as well. I like that too.
Yeah, that's my theory.
That's going to be an interesting combination because Parker is a good heel, and he has he kind of has that motivation to get revenge on the dungeon. So we have two factions kind of warring with the dungeon. Maybe right now it'll be Roxy and the Stars, but could also be the Finstock Exchange at some point as well. That could be a feud down the line, which would be very fun to see. Maybe after Collision, we see the switch. Would love to see that, but yeah. So yeah, I think that's about all I wanted to say about that. So, what do you guys just wanted to point this out? Sorry, my brain is flustered at the moment.
Not left
But
behind
yeah,
human managers who's been such. Yeah, I mean that's a good point Ryan is making there. That like,
yeah,
he's been around the game. He hasn't like left the game or anything. He's been there coaching all those players and
no,
being in the studio or in the digital studio, answering the questions. I know he was talking about that when he was on the rundown recently about how he's still like been, you know, pretty much playing. He's just been in the background, not officially entering the ring. So yeah, I mean he's scary. Like I still think I'm leaning towards Marisol retaining because, I think Brad Gilmore earlier on the rundown was making a good point that like, um, you can't. It's really difficult to replicate that perfect game twice in a row. You know what I mean? So
hmm
he may slip a little bit in this match against Marisol, and we've seen how much Marisol can take advantage of those situations. Whether that be a steal in the second round or whatnot, really like putting her opponent up against the ropes. So I mean, it's going to be tough. I'm really scared for Marisol, like the way that we just saw Levine play. It's terrifying, really. But like, I do think that Marisol might slightly edge him out. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sam wins the belt again. I'm curious to see how the fans react to that because of how beloved Marisol is, and also how beloved Sam is. That's going to be a really, really interesting dynamic to see how that's received. But it's a dream match
absolutely,
for sure. I'm pumped for it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And with that, I
that
think we
match
should
will
move
be
on
great.
to our predictions. We've already had a bit of a spoiler from Dagan with his predictions for this match, but
Sorry.
what do you think? No worries. It's good. I like it.
It's a segue.
But Marisol McKee, yes, it was. It was perfect segue. uh, so, who do you guys have? Because personally, I've got Marisol McKee. I
Yeah.
do have one question after you guys have given your who you guys think will win. But Mattia, who do you have?
So I have Sam because I have to have Sam. It's
Shocker.
like Teresa said. Like if like Teresa said last year, like she has to pick Dan. Like I
Mhm.
have to pick
Or
Sam.
Brendan Meyer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
With
I
two
always said
favorites.
to her that my dream match would be if Dan would play Brandon, just to see
Yep.
her struggle to pick, and also I know that she was very angry. You know the like who do you love more, Dan Merle or from Justin, right? Uh, he does that
Mm.
segment. So I commented once on that when he asked what should he do, and I literally commented, "Please do the kid versus the Dan Merle," and then tag Teresa on that, and she literally commented, "Matt, I will kill you." Yeah, uh, funny times. Yeah. So yeah, no, I just think Sam is on a mission. And I think that when he is on a mission, he's very scary. And in Schmoedown in the general, and in this all the sports, like if you watch the UFC or something like that, when the player is like hungry, when you are not the champion, and people always say this, it's easier to win the belt than to defend it. Like
Mhm.
I think that Sam is on a mission. Like Marisol was on the mission last year to become the first female champion, and then to prove that like her win and her like run is legitimate one to cement her legacy and stuff like that, not to be a one-off champion. And she did that. And now I think that Sam is man on the mission because, as he said, he wants to prove that he can still be a champion. So, and I don't think if he didn't have that mission, I don't think that he would uh, go. go perfect. I think that he would like be very competitive, but would he go perfect? I don't think so. We saw that with Roca as well. When he decided
Mm.
that he will be a champion, he was a man on the mission. I have that feeling from Sam. I think that he really wants to prove that his run was not a fluke. As we all
Mm.
say, he was on the Schmoedown. He probably heard when people said, yeah, he didn't have a great career. He had a great run, uh, because people said that, and I think that he wants to prove that it wasn't a run. I think that he wants to prove that, like, I am one of the top 4 or 5 players in the Schmoedown, uh, at least in the singles and teams era and universe, and I want to prove that. And I just think that when someone is on a mission, it's much harder to beat him, and it's more hungry player that will win, I think, usually.
Mm.
But of course, there is luck of a draw, luck of a spin, what numbers you draw, and stuff like that. But I'm going Sam because, yeah, I just want him to win more. Sorry to everyone. I know that Marisol is very beloved, and I like her too as a player, but she's playing Sam Levine, so sorry.
Yeah.
So, uh, M- Brian and Thomas bring up an excellent point here. If
Mm-hmm.
Marisol wins, she'll be the first player to ever defend the belt 3 times. We've
Yeah.
never seen anyone
Title
defend that
versus
belt three
streak, as I
times.
was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a hell of a streak versus streak, title versus streak. It's going to be
Yeah.
one hell of a fantastic match. They have stories galore there. But Ryan actually brings up a good point here. Uh,
Ryan read my
he has,
mind on what my prediction was going to be, to be honest.
yeah,
Like, I was thinking that it's going to be like a 1 point difference, and that Sam's going to hit his 5, force it back to Marisol. She's going to hit her 5. He's going to be down by 1 point. She'll win on her 5. But, I mean, Matt just made a lot of really good points about Sam Levine and getting hungry and wanting to win that belt back and wanting to be, make some history and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Sam wins this match.
mm,
It's a lot of history on the line here. But I do still have Marisol just because I made this bold prediction at the beginning of the season that Marisol will still have that belt by the time we get to Spectacular, which now just every
Wow.
day I get more and more worried about that prediction because of the way that season is set up, and she's going to have to defend her belt like maybe once every couple weeks or something. The way that it's structured, or more frequently at least. So
Yeah,
I'm still I can't go against my wacky prediction here, so that's why kind of my main reason for choosing Marisol. But I think it's going to be
I
really close, and hey, maybe we'll see sudden death. That's what I'm kind of hoping
yeah,
for as a fan. I
but
would
I
like to see
think
sudden
this will be it because now we are in a studio era and we have buzzers,
could be,
mm.
yeah,
and
very possible.
buzzers are, let's be honest, 5 points, and only one player can get those 5. Like, not all of them, but let's be honest here. It's a lot of points. Like, as you said, they can, like, it's a 1 point. I also think it will be 1 or 2 points difference
Yeah,
before we go into the third round. I think
final
that
round, yeah,
both players will probably go perfect in the third round.
fifth
I
round
just
actually, yeah,
fifth,
for a
yeah.
title match,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's a fifth, but in the last, yeah, for third, because yeah, the last
So,
round, I think both players will go perfect. I think it will come down either to the buzzers or to the what
so
they spin,
Thomas
because
actually brings up a good point that I wanted to ask you guys. Marisol's never had to answer a 5 pointer in a championship match. She's always
Yeah.
won on the 3 pointer.
yeah,
Against Ethan, against Chance, and against Griffey, she's never gone to the 5. Do you think that could be a factor? Do you think that if she has to go to a 5, she will be able to do it? What do you
It's
guys think?
quite possibly, but I have all the faith in the world that Marisol, put in that situation to have to answer her 5, could absolutely pull it off.
yeah. She was already in the situations that were very high stakes matches that she needed to answer her 5. Like, it was, for example, with Deception, and
Yeah.
they didn't get that 5 against Danger Zone, right?
That damn Born Identity question. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Or
And
one of those Born movies. Yeah.
so she knows the feeling. She knows the feeling of getting her 5 and then someone else not getting their 5. Remember the Janine thing? And she knows
Yeah.
the feeling of missing the 5 and losing on a 5. So I don't think that feeling of the pressure will be something new to her, because she played in the multiple divisions, so she has experience. I don't think it is going to fluster her at all.
That's a good point, and a fair point.
But the good
And
point, yeah, the Malcolm's point is very good, and that Sam is very
Yeah.
deadly on the buzzers, and I just think that buzzers will decide it. We saw it when we went back to the live, that buzzers can break the game, change the game. Remember Shazam Corruption, for example. Uh,
mm,
Dan Merle, Ethan Irwin, for
Yep.
example.
Even
Like,
the Marisol Irwin match, where she got that
yeah.
big steal at the end of the second round, but then she did outplay Irwin in the buzzers, who had just outplayed Merle like a
No,
few
no.
weeks
I think that
prior. So
she
crazy.
outplayed him in I think in the betting round. In the betting round, it was
In-
the
Oh
best.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think
You're
sh-
right. You're right.
yeah,
He
Yeah,
still got. It was, I think, through
it was
3-2
pretty
or
even
4-1
in
for
the
yeah,
buzzers.
Irving
she
in
got
the.
3-2.
And it was
He,
very
Yeah,
I
even
think,
against both Chance and Griffin. I remember as
yeah.
well.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
back and
she did
forth in
pretty
both
good.
those
Yeah,
matches.
yeah, but
Yeah,
against Irving still, I think, was better on the buzzers. But she got the big swing in the betting round, if I
Mm.
remember correctly.
yeah. That's sounding familiar now. Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
end on probably a bit of an anticlimax, considering we just had the exciting match. But
Nice.
Bibbs versus Chance. Does Bibbs have a chance to beat Chance? So, Dagan, I'll go to you first. What do you think?
This is really tough. This is probably the most 50-50 that I've been on a match all season so far. I really think this could go either way. It's really hard for me to pick one of these guys or the other. It's funny, my prediction keeps changing like every day. Like, a couple days ago, I was like, I think I have chance of just edging out Bibbs. Today, I'm thinking like, maybe it's going to be Bibbs just edging out Chance. Honestly, I think this is the most even matchup we've had in like a long time. So it's really hard for me to make a prediction one way or the other. Right now, I think I'm like slightly leaning towards Chance, but it's such a coin flip for me. I'm
Mm.
curious to see what your guys' predictions are before I like lock mine in. And I'll lock mine in later on any given Schmoe. I'll give you guys my official pick, but it's really
Yeah.
tough for me.
So for me, it's literally a coin flip.
Yeah,
I could
exactly.
literally use a coin now, flip it, and then said, if it's, I don't know, tails, I will pick Chance. If it's heads, I will pick Bibbs, and then coin will fall, and I will say, well, okay. Like, I love this match because they played already, and they progressed as a player. I think both of them progressed on a level beyond the one that they were in when they played the first time. So I am very, very interested to see like the rematch couple of years later against those two players. Also, those two players both are notoriously good in the first round, both of them. So I know that this is the undercard, but I will say this: this is one of the better undercards we got in the Schmoedown in general for me. For me,
Mm.
This would be like
and
a main event. Any other pay per view?
yeah, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, of course. I think that the only thing that could top this match we have as a main event on this pay per view is if Sam Levine played Dan Merle in a rematch. Yeah, because I think that all of us want to see that match finally that Christian wanted to make
Mm.
when Sam retired, right?
Wouldn't be surprised if we get that at some point this season, though.
Probably will. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We will probably. Yeah. If not in anything else, we will probably get it in Ultimate Schmoedown when Christian can make the brackets. Yeah, and I am very happy, as Brian pointed out. We will going to see Bib's entrance again after
Yes.
2 years. I hope it's going to be something fun and Bib's entrance of old because I loved it. And yeah.
Yeah, it's like spectacular. There, it's crazy to say, but Shazam's entrance was like a little bit underwhelming to what it normally is, and I think was overshadowed by like Thomas Harper in his entrance. So and like Roka and everything. So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
Looking forward to seeing what he has up his sleeve.
I hope for some great entrance for from the Bibs.
Yeah,
same. I think we will get it because he's always big on his entrances and it's always amazing. I personally have chance winning this. He's been on a hot streak. I think the only thing that really kind of damaged his streak was that title match against Marisol. But it was a hell of a match, and I could see him getting back there and facing Marisol again, and the results being swapped. And hey, he doesn't have that curse of the 5-pointer anymore because last year he killed it on 5-pointers. So yeah, and as Leo pointed out in that match against Bibbs last time, he was going perfect until then. So I think he could still do it again and then just crush his 5-pointer and win. I love Bibbs. I have Koy as my fantasy manager. So either way, I would love. I'm happy to see a win, but yeah, I have chance winning this one personally.
you guys better buckle up on Friday because I was just thinking about this. There's a potential we could see this match go to sudden death, the main event go to sudden death, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, and then Paul Oyama cashes in his free for all shot at the end, and we get a third match that goes another like hour into sudden death. So buckle up. We might have like a 3.5 hour pay per view on Friday.
Are you prepared for a 3-hour show next week Sunday? On speaking of on any given Schmoe.
Any given Schmoe day, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a hell of a pay per view. I'm excited for it. I think.
Same.
I don't know about you guys. I'm hella excited.
I mean, look. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt. I got one.
No. I'm just excited as well. Go. That's all.
Yeah. No, for sure. No. What I was gonna say, like earlier, because I was listening to you guys in the car as I was driving home, and you were talking about that scene, like which we'll talk about later as well. But man, like I Christian called into Any Given Schmoe Day last week, and we were talking about how I was asking him about the idea of maybe when you get like Collision or something, when free for all these big pay per views, if they're going to be on a Saturday, you would think there's going to be a Friday Night Titans right before, which is almost structured like a go home show in wrestling, where there's this like big angle to set up the pay per view and build the pay per view. Yeah. And I couldn't think of any better way than that scene that we got, which I personally think might be the greatest Schmoedown cutscene we've ever seen. What a hell of a way to end your go-home show for the big pay-per-view coming up than that big scene. If you're a wrestling fan, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I'm wicked hyped for it.
This is going to be... I'm so excited. Friday can't get here soon enough.
We're hyped. They're doing a good job getting us hyped this year. Thanks, Christian.
Well done, Christian. Well done. Love you, man.
It's great.
But Matt, do you have a wild card this week?
Oh, I have 2 today.
Interesting.
I have the 2 wild cards today. The first wild card, Dagan did mention it, is when do you think Oyama is cashing in his title? Do you think he's going to make it a triple threat? Do you think he's going to have it after the match on, of course, on the pay-per-view, or do you think that he is going to cash it in on the Titans before the free-for-all?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think those are our three options right there. I think it could be any one of those three. He cashes in on Friday, makes it a triple threat. He cashes in after the match. We get another match. Or he cashes in on Titans. Maybe even at the end of the show, he shows up. He doesn't cash in right away. He says, I'm challenging you next week on Titans. Could be that option. So, three great options there. I think we got to get one because we have that the free for all coming up the
Yeah, and
April.
what do you think is going to be?
It's so tough to figure it out. I don't know. Could go any way, man. There's another option I'll throw into this wild, since it is the wild card segment. I'll throw this out there. Paul Oyama cashes in on Shazam with Adam Collins for the tag titles.
I saw. I think it was Ryan making that same pitch, but I heard some. I saw some pushback against that they need to.
I mean, it's Shazam. Yeah.
Yeah. For me.
But there's another option that I have, which is that he could cash in and we see a title match just before free for all. Kind of like a Royal Rumble event where we see a match before the free for all.
Ooh, that's an interesting idea. So, like, it's the free for all's about to start. Paul Oyama has less than a minute to cash in his title, and then here he comes. He comes out. He challenges whoever it is, Sam or Marisol. We get our match right before the free for all, and then we have our free for all. That sounds like a pretty epic show. That also sounds like it'll be about 5.5 hours long. But...
Yeah, for me, I think it's going to be a day before a free for all. Yeah, I think we are going to, if there is a Titans before free for all, right? I think we are going to have that as our let's just say, I think it's going to be like this. So Christian maybe is going to say, we are going to have only one match today because of the free for all on the Friday Night Titans, and then Oyama is cashing in, and then that's our second match that is not advertised, and it's like a big surprise. It would be fun. It would be fun.
That'd be a hell of a way to kick off a show. Like we know what our main event's going to be, but like, what's the first match this week? Oh my God, it's Paul Oyama cashing in his free for all.
Yeah, that would be even better. Let's be honest. But I just think it's going to be. It would be good. It would. I think gave a reasoning to Oyama to know if he's going to prepare for the free for all or not. Like, do you prepare because you are a champion? Maybe you are not going to free for all because of it or something like that. And I think it would be a great hype piece for the free for all itself, because on free for all we doesn't get any championship change hands, and that's why I think that Christian wants one championship match each month. I have that feeling, and I think that in the April is going to be Oyama's cashing in the free for all title opportunity. And I think this is going to be the case. And now the second wild card I have for you today is, on which faction and why do you think Mara and Dan is going to end up? Are they ending up on the same faction or the different factions, and why they're ending up on that factions? Go,
Ben.
So before JTE joined the fan favorites, I would have had them joining the fan favorites there, but I think the fan favorites seem to be turning heel. So I don't know. I see them as being rogue. I don't see them joining a faction personally. If they had to, I would probably have them join the fan favorites. But yeah,
Yeah.
Dagan.
I'm going to say that the faction that Dan and Mara join is none of them. They will not be on a faction this year. They will not have a manager. They will be on their own, maybe even as a team. I've heard that
Ooh, that would be fun.
to be thrown out there. Dan and Mara as a team, look out, Shazam, because man, that's a tough opponent.
So now it's me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Dungeon, you have Corruption, right? You have Swag, you
Although
have
swag is
Fan
not full, I
Favorites,
think.
Fan favorites, yeah.
you have Dan,
The stars,
You
and
have whatever Flaus's thing is.
you have Stars,
House
and
of Flaus,
Yes.
you have Flauses. You have Flauses, right?
Haus, yeah, House of Flaus.
Yeah. Let's call it a German faction, right? Yeah. So I have two options, and I cannot decide. Either they are going to go with the fan favorites because Dan Merle wants to focus exclusively on singles. That's one option. Or the second option is, and listen to this, they both go to the German faction of the Flirtenflaus.
The House of
Because
Flaus.
I just think fan favorites doesn't have inner geekdom player, right? That could be Mara. They doesn't have like the main singles player yet, like your main star. We didn't see that yet. So I really think that Dan and Mara fits pretty actually good in that faction, and I would love to see interactions between Mara and Flirtenflaus. I think that it would be so funny and so
Dan Merle
entertaining.
and Flaus in the same room. I don't know.
Yeah, and
The one's so serious, the other one's not.
yeah,
Yeah, like
but
the styles
I
The
clash.
odd
Yeah.
couple.
I do think that the bigger possibility for me is the fan favorites. They don't have inner geekdom. They don't have like the JT is like their main star, but I think that Wit has something else up his sleeve. I would say maybe then if the soul is not in the den, but he is, and then I do think that they will go together and be together in the same faction again, if they go into the faction. But I would choose fan favorites as my first pick, and then the Flirt and Flaus faction as my second. And
Yeah.
that is the wild
Hey,
card.
it's the wild card, right? You can throw some
Yeah.
wacky, wild ideas out there. Yeah, I honestly, I mean, those are definitely interesting ideas, but I do think that probably the most likely scenario is that they don't have a manager and they're not on a faction. Somebody in the chat was saying that Mara on Schmoe was saying that she confirmed that she will not have a manager this year; that she'll kind of be on her own. I think that she was saying that about Dan as well. Whether or not they end up together, like as I was sort of pitching as a team, it remains to be seen. But I do think that they'll both kind of be on their own. But man, those are two heavy hitters right there to not be on a faction that are quote unquote free agents. Mark Anopic, one of the greatest IG players in the history of the game. Dan Merle, the greatest player of all time. So yeah, that's definitely a big deal for sure.
Yeah, I get.
Yeah.
And then do we have something else?
No, that's about it. I just wanted to do a few plugs before we go.
Yes.
Firstly, next week we will not be on the Euroschmoe Channel. We will actually be on the
Let's
Speaking of
Get Ready
Schmoedown,
Network.
Let's
No,
Get Ready
not
Network.
that. No, not that show.
Sorry,
We will be on
sorry.
any given
Ah, yes.
Schmoe day. any given
Thank you,
Euroschmoe day.
My
That's
my
the
brain
crossover.
is
I get
dead.
it.
I'm sorry. I'm so
I get it.
sorry.
I was just up for like until about 5 o'clock in the morning, so I hear you.
Yeah.
It happens.
It's
So
been a
we are
long
going
day.
to be
Sorry.
on any given Schmoe day.
Yes.
Yes.
Next week we are, as you could hear, I think last week, right? Degan, you announced it last week, right?
Yes.
As you could hear it last week, we are doing a big collaboration with our friend Degan and his crew. We are going to break down the pay-per-view. I think it's going to be fun. As you maybe Degan know, I also am a little bit of a wrestling fan. Because of Ben, I am going back into some
The
wrestling, but
vault.
not the
Yeah.
but not the WWE. I tried it. I still don't. I still don't like it now.
AW.
Uh,
That's where it's at.
yeah. So yeah. So I think it's going to be a fun show, guys. Please tune in.
Yeah.
I didn't guest on the other shows for quite some time, so I'm excited. And yeah, we'll
Yeah, man.
see what the paper will bring.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super hyped to have you guys on next week talking about the pay per view. We usually do the show. Actually, today's show coming up in about a half an hour. We'll be live over on Let's Get Ready Network. But next week, Let's Get Ready Network, it'll be at the time you guys normally would. And now that the time zones are going to sort of shift back, we will be on at 3 p.m. Eastern, so noon Pacific, which I believe is 8 p.m. UK time. Over on Let's Get Ready Network. So a couple hours earlier than we normally would. But yeah, I'm really, really hyped for this show. It's going to be a fun crossover kind of thing. And it's going to be have you guys on there. We'll take phone calls. That's what's kind of fun about our show is that we're unique in that way that we're the only after show right now that takes phone calls. So you guys can call in and talk to these guys and talk to Corey and myself and chat about this pay-per-view because, man, it's going to be – this is the most hyped I've been for a Schmoedown pay-per-view, probably since, like obviously spectacular last year in New York, but I mean, as long as I can remember, for just like a regular pay-per-view, not like a special event or kind of thing, this is the most hyped I've been for a Schmoedown pay-per-view in like years. So
Yeah,
I'm psyched for it.
I just want to say this from the Ryan comment. So I could actually do this. No,
We got
look,
something in the works.
I
Yes.
could do this if it's from 2010 to 2015, and yeah,
Okay.
and
It's very limited.
yeah, that's when
Post
I was
Attitude
real.
Era. Yeah, special
Yeah,
twist.
oh, I can do that as well. Like, okay, but I from 2010 to 2015, I was into everything. New Japan, Ring of Honor. I watched everything. Yeah.
Impact, even. Yeah.
Oh, I
I
did
was
that
watching
too as
that.
well, right?
Impact's actually great right now. I don't want to turn this into
Oh,
the
yeah.
pro wrestling show, but yeah, go check out Impact
Yes.
Wrestling.
I would love it.
So, Ben, what else do you want to plug?
Yes, before we go, sorry, I'm excited about AEW.
Keith Lee's great. Come on.
But yes, oh man, he's fantastic. But yes, the other thing I have to plug is please, guys, if you can, go and watch our Save My Movies. It was on Video Game Movies. Some controversial picks there. I know Matt was very upset with our one pick, but it was still, I enjoyed it. We would love to have more eyes on that, and we may be doing another one this week, but if all plans work out. But it was very fun and loved doing it. So please go and give some eyes on that. And then the last
Sure.
thing is please follow Dagan on Twitter and follow Let's Get Ready Network on YouTube
Yes.
and Twitter and Twitch and Twitter
Absolutely.
as well.
Give us a subscribe. Subscribe to these guys' channel. Do the double subscribe thing. And you get all those
Yeah.
notifications when we do our shows live.
And
Yeah.
it's gonna be awesome.
For sure. Looking forward to next week, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
I can't wait.
And yeah, I think that's it. We can say goodbye.
See you guys next week. Bye.